Hello everybody, this is the iFan channel here, and today I'm going to embark on a bus ride from Sofia to Plovdiv, and then tomorrow I'm going to start going to Bucharest. But on the way to Bucharest I'm actually going to stop at Ruse, because I do think going to Bucharest will be kind of long. So I'm actually going to stop by Ruse, which is quite close anyways. In fact, Ruse is only like 50 miles from Bucharest, basically about the same as Worcester to Boston essentially. So why not, I'm gonna see you guys in Plovdiv, but I'm not sure if this is actually the correct bus. Many of the bus station attendants don't even speak any English, and they don't even understand what I even say. So they actually redirected me to this wrong bus, which could result in me being late or something, or in the wrong place. So whatever, I'm gonna see you guys if I want to arrive in Plovdiv. After about 2 hours 15 minutes of worrying I might not make it to Plovdiv, I finally arrived in Plovdiv. As you can see, it does say Sofia, Bulgars, Pomori, Nesep. Basically, none of it does say Plovdiv according to the alphabet. And also the information with Google Maps also conflicted with the ticket, because even though the ticket does say it goes to a town like basically northeast of Burgas, over here it basically does not even mention anything. So why not, I'm actually going to get my luggage here, and why not, let's enjoy Plovdiv. But it's really hot today. I heard it is more than 30 degrees Celsius. Now, because of the fact it is very hot, and also the fast food next to the bus station does not have any table, so I do have to eat out in the hot. Therefore, I actually did stop by a Chinese restaurant very close to the bus station. Basically, this is what the restaurant is. Китайский restaurant. Over here's the menu, and over here is actually the rice vermicelli. I only paid around $6 US, which is crazy affordable. I'm actually going to eat this, and then I'm going to check into my hotel. Basically, after eating, I'm actually currently on a bus, and just like in Vietnam, I did have to give money to this lady, basically to get a ticket. So here is the ticket. I'll show you guys. Basically, over here it is. And why not, I'm gonna see you guys at the hotel. So basically, after a while, I did book into my hotel room over here. Basically, this is Holiday Inn. I essentially paid nothing because I do have at least 12,000 points on Holiday Inn so far from booking prior hotels in the US. So I actually got this freebie here. This is essentially the most luxurious hotel I've ever slept in this trip so far, as well as being the most affordable, but it would have been the most expensive had I paid full price. But as you can see, this is actually the restroom here. Basically, it does have all the amenities and stuff, and you do have a bed, but unfortunately the room is currently really hot now. I'm actually gonna contact the hotel for a sec. Basically, after a very long break, basically 1.5 hours to cool myself down, as there's actually no AC in the hotel, as the AC is actually broken, I'm finally out in Plovdiv center. Basically, this city used to be called Philippopolis, and hence you do have the stadium here. Basically, this is an old Roman stadium, I do believe so. I'm not sure if it's open, but I'll check. Basically, you do see one of this, which is essentially an old Roman stadium. Well, fun fact is Philippopolis, basically Plovdiv today, is actually the oldest city in Europe, having been inhabited since 6000 BCE, which is like really long ago, basically during the Neolithic age. And after the Neolithic age, it has been conquered by the Thracians, the Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, as well as even the Ottomans, and of course the Bulgarians, and even the Huns as well. Luckily, even though the movies and the cinema is actually closed, I could actually visit the Philippopolis stadium up until 8 p.m. Who knows about the theater, but over here is actually the stadium. It is actually free to enter. As you can see, basically you do have some seats here, which is quite cool. But basically, fun fact about Philippopolis, basically Plovdiv was actually settled in around 6000 BCE, but Philip II of Macedon, which is actually the father of Alexander the Great, actually did form Philippopolis as a city in the state of Thrace, in ancient Greece. But basically for this stadium was actually built between 90 AD and the 2nd century AD in the Roman state of Thracia. Basically, as you guys know, this state was actually inhabited by the Thracian people. I'm sorry if I mispronounce the stuff, but this is one of the most preserved stadiums in all of the Balkans. Basically, I do think this is a lot more underrated than the Colosseum, however, but the Colosseum is much more well known. This could seat up to 30,000 spectators, which is quite a lot, and it is around 250 meters long and 50 meters wide. However, this was what the stadium used to look like. Nowadays, only this part remains, so you might see it being a lot smaller than it used to be, but basically this is a giant, very giant stadium. However, it could not go with the might of the Colosseum, which could actually fit like between 50 and 90,000 people, which is absolutely crazy. I'm now going to leave the stadium and maybe go to the theater, but before I might want to stop by the mosque nearby. Basically, these I do believe are actually like fragments and stuff. And not only are they fragments, I do believe they're also stone writings as well. I'm currently on my way to the Djumaya Mosque, which is one of the most well-known mosques in Plovdiv. And over here, I do believe are some of the city walls. I'm now going to enter the Djumaya Mosque, which was actually built between 1363 and 1364 on a site of the Sveta Petka Danovska Cathedral, because the Ottomans actually did conquer Plovdiv. And basically during the 15th century, the modern mosque was actually built because an older one was actually destroyed. Basically, the modern day mosque was called the Ulu Djumaya Mosque, or the Main Friday Mosque. So one I'm actually going to enter. Basically over here is some more information, but I do have to be very, very quiet. But this really is the most famous mosque in all of Plovdiv. Basically, I'm currently inside the mosque. Now I do have to be very quiet because this is actually a religious site. But as you can see, it is quite nice in here. Basically just like many other mosques throughout the Ottoman Empire, but especially in Ottoman Europe. I'm not really sure about Turkey, but Turkey's mosques are probably going to be a bit more impressive. But over here it is. Basically, instead of having like religious figures, pictures, instead they're actually symbols. Because in Islam they do not allow pictures of people. Instead they only allow symbols like over here. After essentially climbing up the hill, I finally arrived at the Ancient Theatre of Philippopolis. But unfortunately, I do believe there's actually some political demonstration around, so I'm not able to show you guys inside. As you can see, there's actually some show or something. But basically, this theatre was actually built during the reign of Domitian during the 1st century AD. And it is one of the best preserved theatres in ancient Rome. During the 4th century AD, it was actually destroyed by various fires and earthquakes, as well as being damaged by Attila the Hun. But nonetheless, in the years following the 4th century AD, basically after the Renaissance, it was subsequently restored to its original state over here, and hence it is now well preserved. Even though the theatre could now host between 5,000 to 7,000 spectators and is currently in use, as you can see over there, basically during the 1960s, ruins of the theatre were actually excavated, and therefore during the 60s and 70s it was actually restored to its original state, or near its original state. But unfortunately the entrance has been barricaded. I cannot really go in. Basically, as you can see, the show is actually watched by thousands of spectators even to this day, but unfortunately due to the show, there's actually no entrance allowed, so unfortunately could not visit. But this is actually the closest I could actually see the theatre. Basically, you do have to squeeze in. But basically, I do think there's actually some political demonstration going on. Actually, based on the EU, I believe so, but I'm not really sure. Basically, from what I found out, the show actually has to do with the European People's Party, which is essentially a pro-EU party, essentially a center-right party. Now, due to the fact the Ancient Theatre of Philippopolis actually currently holds an event, therefore I cannot enter the theatre, and now I'm currently in the Old Town. Basically, there are actually a lot of residential houses as well as various museums over here. Basically, you could actually see certain houses of famous people in Plovdiv, but in reality, I do believe this is quite residential despite the couple roads. As you can see, there are actually a lot of single family or even two family apartments, which is absolutely crazy. Even in Cambridge, we have like multi-family apartments in residential roads. And after several more minutes of walking, here it is, the Old Town of Plovdiv. Basically, not as old as some of the Roman towns, but still quite old, at least several hundred years old in my opinion. Well, in fact, it was actually first settled around 4,000 years ago, which is a very long time ago. But many of the revival houses were actually built during the 19th century, which is quite recent. Basically, this whole town is about 35 hectares big, and it is located on three of the hills in Plovdiv, which is actually Rahat Tepe, Djumaya Tepe, and Sahat Tepe. Basically, I'm actually going to go to one of the more well-known of the hills, Rahat. And over here it is. Basically, you can actually see a lot of houses around here, and it is quite nice. And even though you just see some more modern houses, I'm trying my best to find some ancient Roman gems, because Plovdiv, I do believe, is a lot more underrated than Rome. Rome is essentially so expensive, quite dirty in fact, because of a lot of litter and stuff, has a ton of pickpockets, and also attractions are just expensive and crowded. But here is one of the places. Basically, I do believe this is actually the City Gallery of Fine Arts. In the old town, you would also find a St. Constantine and Helena Orthodox Church. Unfortunately, because the church is currently closed, I cannot enter the church. But basically, here's the fun fact. This is one of the oldest churches in all of Plovdiv, being built in 337 on an acropolis. And as you can see, basically the church in its current form was actually built in 1832 in the Bulgarian revival style. Basically, there used to be an ancient pagan temple on the Acropolis, but in reality nowadays this is actually, I do believe, a Christian. I'm not sure if it's Orthodox or Catholic, maybe Orthodox, but this church is actually named after Saint Constantine and his mother Elena. After a several minute walk, you would actually arrive at the Rahat Tepe Park, but unfortunately, as you can see, the entrance is currently barricaded. I cannot actually go in, and here is what it would look like. Basically, this is one of the major hills of Plovdiv here. Basically, this is one of the hills where the old town of Plovdiv was actually laid in 4000 BCE. But it was actually later expanded by Phillip II of Macedon, as well as the Roman Empire. And this hill actually became the citadel of the town's Acropolis. And basically, if you were to go in here, there actually remains of city walls, towers, and a postern from a time of Justinian, leading down to the Maritsa River. But unfortunately, I do think the entrance is barricaded, so why not? I'm actually going to eat something here, but I'm not sure if this is actually open or not. But it does say it does accept cards, which is quite good, because the previous Chinese restaurant only accepted cash, but I actually do need cash anyways to even enter the bus. But as you can see, it is actually ventilated here, much better than the outside, which is extremely hot. After waiting a while, here is actually my Bulgarian plates. This is actually potatnik, which is actually potato pie. I'm sorry, it is extremely hot. I'm actually not gonna touch the plate because I'm scared it might burn. But over here it is. I'm actually gonna wait before it cools down, and then I'm gonna eat. After eating, I decided to walk around the old town. As you can see, these are actually some monuments. I do believe so, but I'm not sure what it is. But basically, I'm now heading towards the Tsar Simeon Park. I'm not sure if I'll spend time there, but I'll try to, because I do have to go to sleep before midnight, so I could wake up at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Basically, I'm going all the way to Ruse. Basically, in Ruse, I'm actually just going to sleep and maybe tour around the city for a few minutes, because it is quite unique and used to be an important city during the Ottoman Empire, basically bordering, you guessed it, Romania, because it's only 50 miles from Bucharest. But as you can see, basically you do have some Roman stelae and stuff, as well as several fragments. And from what I could see, this is actually the fortress walls in Vitosha Street. I'm now very close to the Sveta Maria Church, and over here is another section, basically another part of the old town, but this is not really the old town, but the buildings are still old nonetheless. So why not? I'm actually going to show you guys the Sveta Maria Church. Now again, this church actually did close about 10 minutes ago. Unfortunately, the restaurant did take a while to even let me pay, but basically this church was actually built during the late Roman Empire, but was subsequently rebuilt between 1851 and 1856 by the master builders from the Bratislava boarding school under the guidance of Nikola Tomchev. Basically, this church actually lays on the eastern part of the Taksim Tepe hill and was built in honor of Samaria the Great Martyr. Unfortunately, due to the fact the church is closed, I cannot show you guys the inside. But why not, since this church is actually on the way to the Tsar Simeon Garden Park, why not? I'm actually going to see you guys at the park, and I'll show you guys there are actually some statues as well as a Roman form in the area. Basically, you will find out the singing fountain as well. Basically, just a 2-minute walk away from the Sveta Marina Church is actually, I do believe, the main square of Plovdiv. As you can see, there is actually McDonald's, and I also found a bar, Happy Grill. Basically, I saw the meals there, very giant portions, less than $10 US. You also have a KFC around here, but I do believe this is just overpriced American food. You even have Subways as well. Basically, you do have a lot of people, and you also have a fountain as well, which is quite cool. And if you were to walk 2 minutes away from the city square, you would actually find this, which is actually the Roman form of Plovdiv, basically Philippopolis. A very, very underrated and affordable Roman form. In fact, I don't even have to pay anything. I like the Argentina Forum, which is actually in Rome, where I did have to pay €5, I believe so. But as you can see, it is absolutely free here, which is quite amazing. Because in Rome, nothing's for free. In fact, it's quite easy to get pickpocketed, which meant your trip to Rome will be quite expensive. But this is really, really peaceful here. There's not many people, but you can actually see some Roman ruins. There's even descriptions here, which actually show the specific item. This actually shows an imperial letter, basically over here, written in a stone tablet. Over here will basically act as a library, and over here will be the pedestal for the statue of Titus Flavius Priscianus. And lastly, there is actually a mini stadium or theater here, as well as several Roman arcs over here. Basically, this, I do believe, is a very underrated Roman form, but as you can see, there's actually a theater around here. Now on to the Tsar Simeon Garden Park. Oh wait, there are even more Roman forms. As you can see here, I do believe this is another Roman form in Plovdiv. Basically very close to the other Roman form I just showed you guys, the bigger one. I'm currently inside the park now, and over here is a smaller fountain. But as you can see, there are actually very nice trees as well as manicuring. And basically this really resembles any botanical garden, except it is actually free. Basically, it was actually created in 1892 by Swiss landscape architect Lucien Chevalier, who was actually hired by Alexander Bulgaridi to become a gardener in Plovdiv just around 15 years before. Sorry, I meant 13, but over here you can actually see a statue. I'm not sure who it actually is. This over here is actually Lucien Chevalier. Basically, this guy was the one who actually designed the park over here. I'm now on my way to the singing fountain, and over here are actually a lot of flowers. Basically, these are very well decorated over here, and you can see a lot of trees, so it does cool you down quite fast. Basically, I'm gonna see you guys at the fountain. Over here it is, the singing fountain. Unfortunately, I do not believe you can actually swim, as I don't really see people swim here, but as you can see, it sort of acts like a pool, and basically during certain occasions it would actually show lights and stuff, so it will look more like this. Last stop for today, why not? I'd actually go all the way up to the Sahat Tepe, which is actually the North Hill, which does include a clock tower, so why not? I'm actually going to go up here. Over here is actually the national monument, which I'm actually going to read for a bit. Basically, the Sahat Tepe is actually 5.3 hectares big, and the reason why the name is actually Sahat Tepe is because there's actually a clock tower at the top, and also the natural vegetation consists of Christ, Tom, Mana, Ash, and Jub tree. Basically, I'm actually going to go up here. Basically, as you can see, that is the clock tower over there. It is basically 9 p.m. now, so it shows the 9 p.m. bell. Oh my goodness, I'm really tired now, just because I climbed all the way up this hill. Basically, there's no way I could go to the other statue, basically the monument of the Red Army, Alicia, because that's up another 100-meter mountain. Oh my goodness. Basically over here is a clock tower. I'm actually going to go to my hotel once again. All these debilitating steps make my legs really tired now. I don't know how I could even get down here. Basically, we finally made it up the summit. Now I'm actually going to go down the hill, the Danube hill. Basically, wow. It has been several excruciating steps, but I finally made it up. But over here's the clock tower. And why not? I'm actually going to go down now. It has been so long. I'm now on my way to the hotel, and unfortunately the bus driver just left without me, and now I don't know which bus will be next, or if there'll be any bus, because it's past a certain time limit. So basically I might be stranded here, or else basically I just have to walk another 30 minutes to the hotel. But here is actually a bus, luckily, and over there is actually the monument of the Red Army, Alicia. Basically a monument. I'm actually going to take this bus, I believe so, but I've been quite stressed out, just like in Monza. But as you can see, there's actually a bus. I'm actually going to take this bus. Luckily, I'm currently on the bus now, which is a good thing, because now I'm on my way back to the hotel once again. But because tomorrow will be a very short day, what I mean short is I'll record basically only a few minutes of the video. I'm actually going to combine the Plovdiv and Ruse video into one, because in reality I'm actually only going to stay at the Ruse hotel before going to Bucharest. So see you guys at the hotel. Now, before returning to the hotel, let me sum up everything I've missed today. Basically, really any museums, as well as some basilicas, essentially. Basically, even 2 churches as well. If you were to include the fact they're both closed when I arrive, as well as the theater, which ironically does hold a demonstration. Basically, the European People's Party demonstration, which is a pro-EU party, as well as the one of the hills, the Rahat Tepe, which is temporarily closed, basically based on the fenced. But why not? I'm actually going to return to the hotel. Basically, after a while, I'm currently at the hotel now. I'm actually going to see you guys tomorrow. I'm actually going to edit my videos now before I go to sleep. It is quite late. It is about 10 p.m. I do have to sleep at midnight to catch the train to Ruse. Well, now, good morning. Basically, I'm currently on the bus now. I'm actually going to go to the train station to actually head all the way to Ruse. Basically, this is more like a layover than really anything. So why not? I'm actually going to see you guys at the train station. Basically, after nearly an hour, I finally got on the train. Over here is actually the Plovdiv train station. I'm actually going to go all the way to Stara Zagova. Basically, due to road constructions, the bus actually did go the wrong way, and basically I was so paranoid I might be late, but in reality it was a train which was delayed 15 minutes. After basically 2.5 hours, I finally arrived in Stara Zagora, where I'm actually gonna stay for maybe about an hour or something before you have to take the next train. Basically, the next train would actually go all the way to Gorna Oyakovica. Basically, over here is Stara Zagora, and as you can see, there's actually a train, basically a steam locomotive. But why not? I'm actually going to look for a restaurant to eat, basically for an hour before the next train arrives. Yep, basically to Gorna Oyakovica. Now, due to the fact I'm actually short of time, I'm actually going to eat here, which is called Kolodrum food and drink. Basically very close to this train station. And here is my pizza over here. This is actually a sausage pizza. I did buy some drink because I'm currently out of water, but I'm actually going to go to the Lido store, which is also very close to the train station. So one I'm gonna eat fast. Basically after eating and then buying water at the Lido nearby over here, I'm actually going to embark on the second class train all the way to Gorna Oyakovica. After about 3.5 hours, I finally arrived at this station, the Gorna Oyakovica station. Over here is actually the timetables, and it is actually eerily accurate, despite the fact it looks kind of older. But this over here is the digitized timetable, and it is exactly the same, which is absolutely crazy. So why not, I'm gonna see you guys at the last train to Ruse. Now basically, due to the fact I nearly run out of water, it is extremely hot in the train, and also I do have time to spare because the train does actually leave at around 17:30, and now it's only 16:50. Therefore I actually bought some chips and stuff just to take a rest. This is actually an air-conditioned room, unlike the train station and the train itself. So this is quite lucky, and also I have some cold water, which is good. So why not, I'm actually going to eat and drink, and then I'm going to see you guys on the train. Basically after a while I did arrive on my last train. This is the very last one, all the way to Ruse, where I'll be staying for about a night. Over here is the outside. Unfortunately there's some thunderstorms, but I heard the thunderstorms would actually end in a few minutes. Therefore it might be safer to get outside and actually find some dinner to eat. After about several hours I finally arrived in Ruse. I'm currently at my hotel now. Over here is my hotel. Basically there is actually a single bed. Luckily, even though this is considered a hostel, I do have my own private room here with a private bath. Luckily, unlike the Martha house in Switzerland. But let me tell you some fun facts about Ruse. Basically, it is the 5th largest city in all of Bulgaria and the 12th largest city on the Danube River. Basically, it's at the very eastern end of the Danube River. Kind of close, but not really much. And also, another fun fact is, because of its Baroque and Neo-Rococo architecture, basically Ruse is considered the Little Vienna in Bulgaria, which is quite fascinating. Another thing is, because it's near the Danube, Ruse essentially acts as Bulgaria's like river port. After leaving my stuff at the hotel, why not, I'd actually go to the center of Ruse and actually eat at a restaurant. As you can see, you do see some Neo-Baroque and Neo-Rococo buildings over here, which makes it quite fancy looking, but quite compact. However, basically really like any Central European town. But it is absolutely amazing, even for a relatively small city of 125,000 people. I'm kind of debating whether or not Ruse is really a suburb of Bucharest, because Bulgaria and Romania does have border controls between the two countries. However, when I searched, Ruse is really only like 50 miles or something from Bucharest. Basically the same as Boston versus Worcester. So why not, I'm actually going to eat dinner at the Happy Bar and Grill. Basically walking through Ruse, I do believe because of the rain just an hour or two ago, hence the population is essentially empty. It is essentially kind of like a ghost town, even with these immaculate buildings and stuff, just like in Vienna and Prague and Budapest. But in reality, why not, I'm actually going to look for something to eat. But I really feel like this is quite reminiscent of pandemic era Europe, essentially when everything was locked down. This kind of reminds me of the pandemic in 2020, basically during the height of the pandemic lockdowns. After about 10 minutes walking from the hotel, I finally arrived at Happy Grill, and Happy Grill is nothing like in the streets. Basically the streets are totally empty or nearly empty. But over here, it is so crowded, I do have to wait for a table, which is absolutely insane. So why not, I'm actually gonna eat here. Basically, after about 20 minutes, I finally got my meal here. Rice with vegetables. Basically, I'm actually gonna eat. It actually costed me 9 lev, which is quite affordable, especially for a restaurant like this. This is actually the most affordable meal at the restaurant. But basically, as you can see, it's quite nice. A lot more affordable than some of the stuff I actually bought in Sofia, but still quite expensive. So therefore I'm gonna eat this because it's quite good. I've just finished eating, and the only thing I'm gonna show you guys is this, which is actually the Monument of Liberty, basically designed by Annoro Zocchi, an Italian sculptor. Basically this was built during the early 20th century, and it is nearly 18 meters tall. So why not, I'm actually going to return to the hotel because basically I do have to get well rested before I enter Bucharest tomorrow, which is essentially the last city, but in reality there are two more after Bucharest, Budapest and Vienna. But even though I visited Bucharest when I was a child, in fact I never even filmed the vlog. So basically the two cities after Bucharest will basically be part 2 and will not be new cities. So why not, I'm going to return to the hotel. I just returned to the hotel now. Why not, I'm going to edit some videos and then I'm going to sleep. So thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos. And yes, I'm actually going to take a rest and then I'm going to see you guys soon. Luckily there's AC here.